Yes, it is required to install an outside ground fault circuit interrupter for a new air conditioning installation in an existing house for the condenser. The National Electrical Code mandates ground fault circuit interrupter protection for all outdoor outlets, including those used for air conditioning condensers. A ground fault circuit interrupter device monitors the electrical current flow and trips the circuit if it detects an imbalance, indicating a potential shock hazard. No, it is not specifically required by the National Electrical Code to install a light and receptacle for an existing air handler in an attic. However, it is considered best practice and highly recommended for convenience and safety. A light allows for easy inspection and maintenance of the air handler. A receptacle provides a convenient source of power for troubleshooting of future accessories. In some cases, local codes or homeowners association regulations may require additional safety features, such as a disconnect switch near the condenser. It is always advisable to consult with a licensed electrician to ensure compliance with all applicable codes and standards. While it may be tempting to cut costs by omitting the ground fault circuit interrupter and light or receptacle, these safety features are important for protecting the electrical system, reducing shock hazards, and ensuring the proper operation of the air conditioning system. Thinking a bit more about ground fault circuit interrupters and their application to air conditioning condensers, it's important to understand why the National Electrical Code requires this level of protection. Outdoor environments are inherently more susceptible to moisture, which significantly increases the risk of electrical shock. The condenser unit, being exposed to rain, snow, and humidity, presents a higher chance of electrical faults. If a fault occurs, say, due to damaged wiring or insulation breakdown, the metal casing of the condenser could become energized. Without ground fault circuit interrupter protection, a person touching the energized casing could become part of the electrical circuit, leading to a potentially fatal shock. The ground fault circuit interrupter works by constantly monitoring the current flowing in the circuit. It measures the difference between the outgoing and incoming current. In a properly functioning circuit, these currents should be equal. However, if a fault occurs and current leaks to ground, such as through a person touching the energized casing, the ground fault circuit interrupter detects this imbalance. Even a small difference, as low as 5 mA, is enough to trigger the ground fault circuit interrupter to trip the circuit, cutting off the power almost instantaneously. This rapid response is crucial in preventing serious injury or death. Installing a ground fault circuit interrupter for the air conditioning condenser is not just about meeting code requirements, it's about ensuring the safety of anyone who might come into contact with the unit. This includes homeowners, maintenance personnel, and even unsuspecting passers-by. The cost of a ground fault circuit interrupter is relatively small compared to the potential consequences of an electrical shock. Now let's consider the air handler in the attic. While the National Electrical Code doesn't mandate a light and receptacle for an existing air handler, there are compelling reasons to install them. Attics are often dark and difficult to access, making it challenging to inspect and maintain the air handler. A permanently installed light provides much needed illumination, allowing for a thorough visual inspection of the unit. This can help identify potential problems early on, such as leaks, damaged wiring, or excessive dust buildup. A receptacle in the attic offers a convenient power source for various tasks. During maintenance, technicians often need to use power tools such as vacuum cleaners or testing equipment. Without a receptacle, they would have to run extension cords from another part of the house, which can be inconvenient and potentially hazardous. Furthermore, the receptacle can be used to power accessories that might be added to the air handler in the future, such as a humidifier or an ultraviolet light. Installing a light and receptacle in the attic improves safety and convenience, making it easier to maintain the air handler and ensuring its continued proper operation. Although the National Electrical Code might not explicitly require these features in existing installations, they represent a best practice that can significantly enhance the overall safety and functionality of the air conditioning system. When considering the electrical work for the air conditioning system, it's essential to involve a qualified electrician. A licensed electrician has the knowledge and experience to ensure that all work is performed safely and in accordance with the National Electrical Code and local codes. They can assess the existing electrical system, determine the appropriate size and type of ground fault circuit interrupter, and install the wiring and components correctly. Furthermore, an electrician can identify any potential safety hazards and recommend solutions to address them. Attempting to perform electrical work without the necessary qualifications can be dangerous and may result in serious injury or property damage. It's always best to leave electrical work to the professionals. In New Jersey, as in many other jurisdictions, electrical work is regulated, and permits are often required for new installations or modifications to existing electrical systems. Obtaining the necessary permits ensures that the work is inspected by a qualified electrical inspector, who can verify that it meets the applicable codes and standards. Skipping the permit process can result in fines and penalties and may even void your homeowner's insurance policy. The electrical inspector is there to protect the safety of the occupants of the building and to ensure that the electrical system is installed correctly and safely. In summary, when installing a new air conditioning system in an existing house, it's crucial to prioritize safety and compliance with the National Electrical Code and local codes. Ground fault circuit interrupter protection is essential for the outdoor condenser unit, and while a light and receptacle may not be explicitly required for the attic air handler, they are highly recommended for safety and convenience. Always consult with a licensed electrician to ensure that all work is performed safely and correctly, and obtain the necessary permits to ensure compliance with the applicable regulations. By taking these steps, you can protect yourself, your family, and your property from electrical hazards and ensure the proper operation of your air conditioning system. Now expanding further on some of the nuances of ground fault circuit interrupter protection. It is important to differentiate between ground fault circuit interrupters and arc fault circuit interrupters. While both devices are designed to protect against electrical hazards, they do so in different ways. A ground fault circuit interrupter, as we've discussed, protects against electrical shock by detecting imbalances in the current flowing through a circuit. An arc fault circuit interrupter, on the other hand, protects against fires caused by arcing faults. Arcing faults occur when electricity jumps between two conductors, creating a spark that can ignite flammable materials. Arc fault circuit interrupters are typically installed on circuits that serve outlets and lighting in bedrooms, living rooms, and other areas where flammable materials are present. While ground fault circuit interrupters are required for outdoor outlets, including those serving air conditioning condensers, arc fault circuit interrupters are not typically required for these circuits. However, in some jurisdictions, arc fault circuit interrupters may be required for all circuits in a home, regardless of their location. It's important to check with your local building department to determine the specific requirements in your area. Another important consideration is the type of ground fault circuit interrupter to use for the air conditioning condenser. There are two main types of ground fault circuit interrupters: receptacle type and circuit breaker type. Receptacle type ground fault circuit interrupters are installed in place of a standard electrical outlet. They provide ground fault circuit interrupter protection only for devices plugged into that particular outlet. Circuit breaker type ground fault circuit interrupters are installed in the electrical panel. They provide ground fault circuit interrupter protection for the entire circuit that they serve. For an air conditioning condenser, a circuit breaker type ground fault circuit interrupter is typically the best choice. This provides protection for the entire circuit, including the wiring and the disconnect switch. It also eliminates the need to install a separate ground fault circuit interrupter receptacle near the condenser. When selecting a circuit breaker type ground fault circuit interrupter, it's important to choose one that is specifically designed for use with air conditioning equipment. Air conditioning condensers can draw a large amount of current when they start up, which can sometimes cause a standard ground fault circuit interrupter to trip. Ground fault circuit interrupters designed for air conditioning equipment are more tolerant of these high inrush currents and are less likely to trip unnecessarily. In addition to ground fault circuit interrupter protection, it's also important to ensure that the air conditioning condenser is properly grounded. Grounding provides a path for fault current to flow back to the electrical panel, which helps to trip the circuit breaker and prevent electrical shock. The National Electrical Code requires that all metal parts of the air conditioning condenser be grounded, including the casing, the motor, and the fan. Grounding is typically accomplished by connecting a grounding wire from the condenser to the grounding bus in the electrical panel. The grounding wire should be sized appropriately for the circuit and should be securely connected to the condenser and the grounding bus. Proper grounding is essential for the safety of the air conditioning system and should be performed by a qualified electrician. Shifting the focus now to the air handler in the attic, let's delve deeper into the benefits of installing a light and receptacle, even if they are not strictly required by the National Electrical Code. Firstly, consider the challenges of working in an attic environment. Attics are often cramped, dusty, and poorly lit. They can also be very hot in the summer and very cold in the winter. These conditions can make it difficult to perform even simple tasks such as inspecting the air handler or changing the filter. A permanently installed light can significantly improve visibility, making it easier to see what you're doing and reducing the risk of accident. It also eliminates the need to carry a flashlight or work light, which can be cumbersome and can take up valuable space. A receptacle in the attic provides a convenient source of power for a variety of tools and equipment. During maintenance, technicians may need to use vacuum cleaners, power drills, or testing equipment. Without a receptacle, they would have to run extension cords from another part of the house, which can be inconvenient and potentially hazardous. Extension cords can also be a tripping hazard, especially in a cramped attic environment. A receptacle also provides a power source for accessories that may be added to the air handler in the future, such as a humidifier, an ultraviolet light, or an electronic air cleaner. These accessories can improve the air quality in your home and can help to reduce allergies and asthma symptoms. When installing a light and receptacle in the attic, it's important to follow the National Electrical Code and local codes. The light should be installed in a location where it provides adequate illumination for the entire attic area. The receptacle should be a ground fault circuit interrupter type to protect against electrical shock. The wiring should be sized appropriately for the circuit and should be installed in conduit or cable to protect it from damage. The work should be performed by a qualified electrician who can ensure that it is done safely and correctly. In addition to the light and receptacle, it's also a good idea to install a switch near the attic access point to control the light. This will make it easy to turn the light on and off without having to climb into the attic. The switch should be a three-way switch, so that the light can be controlled from both the attic access point and another location in the house. This can be particularly useful if the attic is used for storage, as it will allow you to turn on the light before entering the attic. Finally, it's important to keep the attic clean and free of clutter. This will make it easier to access the air handler and other equipment, and it will reduce the risk of fire. Store flammable materials in airtight containers and keep them away from the air handler and other electrical equipment. Inspect the attic regularly for signs of pests such as rodents or insects, and take steps to eliminate them if necessary. By following these tips, you can ensure that your attic is a safe and functional space.